Welcome, everybody, to the Commercial Music Show. I'm your host, Ben Graham, and today's guest is the one and only Jaden Andrews, an alum of the Commercial Music program here at Idaho State University. Jaden, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here. How are we doing?
Doing so good. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. So I kind of just want to start by asking you about your experience with commercial music and how you ended up in the program and how you ended up producing a full-length record.
Cool. So I originally came to Idaho State University as a music ed major. I was a French horn player.
Sure.
Didn't play any other instrument really. I had some background in a little jazz, but I came just to play horn, get a music ed degree, and then halfway through my sophomore year, I had gone to a commercial music concert. I went to the combined commercial music jazz concert, and I didn't realize that was a thing. But I'd always have kind of like these little aspirations of. I had written a couple of like instrumental, songs that I just without bounds. So they weren't like classical or jazz necessarily, but I was like, and then when I saw that this program existed, and then the musicians there like blew me away. I mean, Claire performed, I think Joseph performed, and Mason.
Awesome.
And it was just phenomenal. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And that's something that I think I want to do. I think I wanted to just kind of chase the passion right there in the moment. So I decided to switch my major and jump into that.
Okay.
Which was and it was great. Like I had phenomenal experiences in the program. Played with a lot of great musicians, worked with some like professional producers, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And just getting my feet wet like that was awesome. And it really just was a great experience, and it led to me creating this album, which was if I had told high school or middle school Jaden that he would be like releasing a full-length album, like they would have lost their minds. So
mind blown, probably. Yeah. Well, on the topic of your record, what's the first thing you tell us about it? It's you released it this year. It's your magnum opus as of yet, right? Could you tell us just a little bit about the beginning, the origin of the record?
Oh man, so I guess with the record, I kind of just wanted to. It kind of acts like a collection of experiences that I've had, and I kind of just felt like putting those. I think music is a great way to share experiences and communicate, specific nuance and emotion that comes with certain experiences. So an album just fit really well because I had been through some things that I needed to process. Yeah, and I'm sure that were very relatable to other people who had gone through similar things.
Sure.
And I had found music and other media that I was able to connect with and relate to. So I thought that creating something like that would not only help me with the emotions I was feeling, but hopefully reach out to others and that were feeling the same way and help them.
Awesome. So the title track is Among the Stars, right? So what was the process behind that song?
That song was one of the first I wrote. I think it was the first.
Okay.
And it kind of serves as the thesis for the whole album. I don't want to say like it's my ethos if we're talking like it's my accreditation. Like don't this is where I am in this moment and this is where this album is coming from.
Sure. Yeah.
So that came from a spot where moving into the album has a big theme of change, I think, and just going through specific events that change you to your core, that you have to make significant adjustments to your mindset and things to deal with these changes.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to set the stage of me getting into those later in the album with Among the Stars, which is kind of just about, taking a step into the unknown and seeing what you can do and where you fit in this crazy new place that you've just walked into.
Absolutely, yeah. And so as the album progresses, you go through these stories, right?
Correct.
So what's the next story as soon as you launch into space?
So as soon as we get yeah. Love it. The first half of the album all kind of centers around one theme. The second half, I decided to change it up and, touch on some other things that weren't related to the first half, just because I felt like those also needed some... They're also stories I could tell. So, but the first half all centered around, I grew up in a religious household, and once, I learned some things, and I figured that, it wasn't the right choice for me to stick with it.
Absolutely,
so I've taken a step out and to see what happens there. So that's the initial step is Among the Stars.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the side A, as I'll call it,
love it.
is kind of different feelings associated with that, whether it's like unconditional love and how that, or like conditional love versus unconditional love.
Okay.
Or, newfound freedoms, or, experiences that I can experience now that are different, and things like that, as well as like the hurt of telling people that may not agree with your decision. And that tension that can cause from that. So that's what side A all kind of centers around.
Okay.
And that's what Among the Stars is kind of the thesis
for. Is there
for.
a specific tune that kind of embodies that in like the side A part of it?
Yeah. I would say like Stings is a song that's tied to like conditional love, and how conditional love really isn't love in the best sense.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's like, it's not necessarily my experience, but other people that I had talked to, they'd have family members that disown them, or like cut off communication, and I think that's just really awful. And it's really conditional love that does that, and unconditional love is really the only kind of love, is where that seed of where Stings came from. And I thought that
awesome. And so some of the lyrics in the song are obviously what help tell the story.
Totally.
What would be an example phrase you could use?
Example phrase. Well, the chorus is "Your love stings,"
right? Yeah.
Because it's like a conditional love, and so verse 2 is, "You can't love just a part of me. That's not how it works. No, I love you, but," and that's a phrase that I wanted to focus on, was "I love you, but," like that shouldn't be a
that
phrase.
That completely embodies conditional love.
Yeah. There should no be. The next line is no need for more words. So it's just "I love you" should be the only things that need to be said. There should be no qualifiers. on that.
Yeah.
And that's a phrase I think would be particularly important to that song. So.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And so that's kind of side A. What about side B? What's like the big message in side B?
Side B, I would say, doesn't necessarily have an overarching theme like side A does. I would say just other things that affected me, or other facets of, because that's not just who I am. It's just this one person of who side A is. But like I had other facets. So I thought that would, humanize the album a little bit more.
Of course.
Instead of making it super, super concentrated. So, I have themes I have a couple love songs on there. Just some. And then I wrote, a song about the moon with that was inspired by Dr. Tom Hassenblug, who told me to just get out and write a song about nature. So I was like, okay, that's a good idea.
What a great experiment.
So yeah.
I think art is very much well reflected. Like when you go out in nature, and nature is like, you can, whether it's painting or a song or any kind of art, you can just be in nature, and art flows out of nature.
Totally.
And so, I feel like that's great. Just for a Moment is one of those love type songs you write. Can you tell us a little bit about Just for the Moment?
Yeah, so I totally consider myself like a tragic romantic.
Okay.
Like, I see people and I like make connections that aren't there,
Sure.
I fall in love with strangers, that kind of thing. So that's what I wanted to embody with Just for a Moment. And I wanted to kind of take it back and kind of give it a old jazz kind of crooner style, because I felt like that captured a lot of the feeling there. But so a lot of those lyrics are just hopefully super relatable to other people like me. And it's just
Could you give us an example of that?
So an example of that lyric would be right in the beginning of the chorus, is "Just for a moment we lock eyes. You tell me your story and I tell you mine." And that's kind of the things I would feel in that moment. Like you just, you lock eyes with a stranger and you feel like there's a connection there, even though you haven't like said a word to them.
Right.
And then I kind of walk that back in the bridge and say like, I don't even know if you felt it the same. Like this could have been a totally one-sided experience. Yeah. And that's a valid reaction too. So it's part of it. And
it's just the average experience of a tragic romantic.
Exactly. So that's the essence of that one.
I love it though. So, and then you have Different Hue is the closer, right?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Different Hue? How does it wrap everything up?
Different Hue. I just wanted to have the closer to the album kind of explain, like, these are my experiences. I hope you've gained something through listening to them, and maybe it's changed your perspective. So I kind of wanted to tie a song in there about, changing perspectives and seeing that if something's not working for you, trying a different perspective just by itself might be the way to a happier situation.
Which is also kind of a tie back to your original message in side A, right? It's kind of branching off. You're kind of like discovering new things, new perspective, things like that. I think it's brilliant, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So great. Everyone go listen to Jaden's record, Among the Stars. It's on all streaming platforms, right?
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. So kind of switching topics here a little bit. So now that you're graduated, you have this whole like 80 plus years or, however long you have, not to sound weird, but you have the rest of your life ahead of you. Mm-hmm. Is there anything left on the docket?
No, this is it.
Nothing. What's next is my question.
I think my next musical project, as I wanted to kind of change it up, I was really inspired by a producer I got to work with in school, Bad Snags. She does a lot of electronic music and instrumental music, and it's just fantastic. I was really inspired by her and the music that she listened to. Mm-hmm. So I kind of want to do something more akin to that. I want to do a instrumental beat record. Okay. And I think the inspiration behind it, I have 2 nephews. They're my cousin's kids, but I can call them my nephews.
Sure.
And they just say the funniest things.
Okay.
So I think a good little EP idea would just be, take some of these phrases that they've
that's so
come
cool.
up with and, write short songs about it. And inspired by these phrases, just these little instrumental grooves.
So an EP then.
Probably an EP.
So like that's next musically is an EP.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, is there like grad school on the horizon, or is there, other like educational opportunities ahead?
Possibly. I'm pretty open and go with the flow. I'm going to see kind of where life takes me.
Oh, yeah.
And
for sure.
Because I really love getting into the production of music, and I'd love to do something like that if I could find an internship or something. But
of course, yeah.
But I'm pretty open to any musical experience that I get.
Awesome.
So
yeah. Is there a certain thing you want to accomplish, like a big goal you have, just like kind of on your bucket list?
Oh, a bucket list goal. Honestly, just to release more music would be great. Mm-hmm. And if I can make my living just making music and sharing that with other people, that'd be the dream.
That's a fantastic goal. Yeah,
and I'd love to collaborate with other musicians.
Oh, yeah.
And produce their songs or something. Just cultivate music in everybody, I think, is a good goal.
Do you plan on like continuing to be in touch with the commercial music program here at ISU?
Totally.
In the future? Okay.
I totally think that all of my future releases are going to be tied to City Creek Records, which is just an awesome project that John and people have led in this school.
Oh yeah, an enormous addition to the music industry.
Definitely.
Speaking of the music industry, I feel like this is a pretty fun question to ask people because I've gotten some pretty in-depth responses from this. So the question is, what would you change? What are like 1 or 2 or 3 things that you would change about the industry?
I think the biggest thing is that artists just have a hard time making money as artists in their own. Like the birth of streaming services have just made a huge cut in artists' pay. Like modern artists are getting paid, a sixth of a penny per stream of their song. So it's impossible to make money. And it already costs money to, distribute music to the streaming services. So you're like actively losing money unless you're a massive star and getting millions of streams. You're losing money on putting your art out there, which is insane to me. Like that's not something I'm not paying for other people to listen to my music. I worked very hard. I put lots of hours into this album and hopefully crafting an experience that changes somebody's life or something.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm losing money by having that be out there. It's not a sustainable industry for that.
Right. Yeah.
So people need to be able to get money for their time and putting that into music. So that's the one thing I would change. I would have streaming services need to change and either pay their artists more fairly or we just need to go back to buying our music and listening it that way. I think that's much more ethical.
Yeah, of course. On the topic of art and money, what what's your opinion on monetizing art? Because I know there's a lot of different opinions on it. Like it should be, just a creative flow, and it should flow out of people. Like it should be free, and everyone should just enjoy it. What's your opinion about monetizing art in general?
I think that's the other shoe to drop, I guess, is other people have to pay for it if the artist isn't, which I think is going to be a necessity.
Yeah.
I think there's obviously ways to get it out there, but art isn't gonna be a thing if artists can't afford to make art,
Right.
Like if they all have to go take up 9-to-5s and leave their passions on the table, I don't think people are gonna have art to listen to anyway. So
right, that's a great point. Yeah.
So people are gonna have to start paying for art, whether that's through other. I mean, there's several options that could work. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Well, yeah, and I love it. I think I agree. I think that art is, it's priceless, but it's also, artists have to be able to afford the materials and the resources they need to keep, their output going, like to keep releasing music, to keep painting pictures, to keep, the photography. It all has to have.
I like to think it's less like buying the art versus supporting the artist.
Yeah.
I think if we separate those things, it kind of makes it a little easier to decide what is like ethical in this situation.
Sure. Yeah. And so anything else on the topic of the music industry? Like, is there anything about like streaming services you feel about? I know that's a popular thing going on right now. Like, a lot of streaming services don't really pay the artists as much as they really need to make.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's a tough gambit. We've gotten used to streaming as a society because it's super convenient and it's super awesome. Like I can't say that the album would have come together as easy as it did if I weren't listening and absorbing inspiration all the time through streaming services.
Absolutely.
Like that. And it makes like unlimited access to music is pretty awesome, but it's just not sustainable. Like artists aren't going to have the ability to make music anymore, and then those streaming services aren't going to have anything to stream.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have an entire library of old music to stream,
right.
But new music, absolutely.
So it's just we're just eating the reserves.
And it's a problem. And there's people who are actively trying to solve this problem.
It's a very complex issue.
It's a very complex issue.
Can't say I've got a solution to it, but
no, and it's complicated, and there's a lot of people trying to help. I mean, if you could try to help artists in any way, what would you think you would do? Like, how would you help them?
The best way to support an artist is just to buy their art, and that gives them the money to make more art. So if you're just paying for the album or paying for whatever media they make is the best way to support an artist.
Yeah, and there are plenty of platforms outside of the big guys that have ways you can support, especially musicians.
Totally.
Like, have you had any success with any platform yourself?
Yeah, Bandcamp in particular has been super good, and they're super good. They treat their artists well. They take a very small portion of it. I think if you only exceed a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, so you get pretty much 100% of the proceeds from people buying your art, which is awesome. They have a space for it, and they're really artist-centric, which is a really cool thing for artists,
Right. And to what I understand, because I also use Bandcamp. I used Bandcamp for a record I released a while ago, but the process of uploading your music is also very easy.
Totally,
it's super, super easy to understand and self-explanatory for the most part. Yeah.
They're super, super artist-friendly, which is how it should be in the music industry.
I believe so, yeah. And so kind of switching topics again here, but you have a song that you want to play for us. Among the Stars is the title track, and you wanted to play it, and we're just going to go ahead and listen to it.
Awesome.
All right, here is Among the Stars by Jaden Andrews.
I'm lost, I don't know where to go. Left something behind thought I'd never let go. Now I'm stuck with my mind in a foreign place. The unknown surrounds me, but so does the peace. Where is my place among the stars? Where is my place among the stars? I've transcended the boundaries of what I thought I knew. Dropped invisible chains once they were in view. I'm on another plane with nowhere or go. Just me and my compass, being forced to grow. Where is my place among the stars? Is it here or over Mars? I don't know my own destiny. I just want to find a perfect place for me. Left one world for another, trying to find a place that I can learn to be a better human.
We read packaged views that are already digested for you, synthesized and sort of regurgitated action. The important thing is to be able to understand how you interrelate with the world you live in and how it affects you and how you can affect it. What causes this pain has very little to do with the pain itself. What you really want to get at is the diagnosis of the cause, which then will explain all this pain.
Where is my place among the stars? Is it here or over Mars? I don't know my own destiny. I just want to find a perfect place for me.
Awesome. That's such an awesome song, man. Like, the music sounds great, the production sounds great. It's all around just a fantastic song. Guys, go check out Jaden's record Among the Stars on all streaming platforms. Jaden, I just want to thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. It's been such a blast, and I sincerely wish you the best in your future.
Thanks, Ben. It's great to be here.